Imagine waking up tomorrow without fear holding you back. You speak your truth without hesitation. You step into the unknown without panic. You face failure not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Now ask yourself, what kind of life would that be? Fear is something we all carry. Fear of rejection, failure, loss, or even success. But what if I told you that fear is not your enemy? That thousands of years ago, long before modern psychology ever gave fear a name, the Buddha had already offered a path to understand it and transcend it. Buddhism, with over 2,500 years of wisdom, doesn't just tell us to be brave. It teaches us how to look deeply into fear, to see its roots, and to rise above it, not through denial, but through awareness. In this video, we'll explore 8 powerful teachings from the Buddha that will help you understand the true nature of fear, shift the way you perceive it, and most importantly, free yourself from the grip of anxiety that keeps you small. So if you're ready to stop being ruled by fear and start living with clarity and courage, this is for you. Let's begin. Let's begin with a simple truth. Everything changes. Your job, your relationships, your body, your emotions, even your fears. In Buddhism, this truth is called anicca, impermanence. It reminds us that nothing, not even fear, is permanent. Think about it. How often do we suffer not because something is happening, but because we fear it might happen? We fear losing a job, getting sick, being alone. But underneath all of that fear is one deep attachment, the craving for things to stay the same. But life doesn't work like that. The seasons change. The people in our lives evolve. Even the strongest emotions rise and fall like waves. So instead of clinging or trying to control what we can't, what if we simply let go? Next time you're afraid, notice what's really happening. Ask yourself, what am I holding on to? And remember this, just as joy passes, so does fear. Now let's go deeper. Fear is not always based on reality. Sometimes it's just a story the mind tells us. You're standing at the edge of a cliff. There's no danger. You're safe. But your heart races. Your breath shortens. Why? Because the mind imagines the worst-case scenario, even when it's not happening. Buddhism teaches that fear is often an illusion, a mental projection, not a truth. It's like mist on a window. At first it blurs everything, but when you look closer, you realize it's only a thin layer you can wipe away. You are not your fear. You are the awareness watching that fear arise. When you see fear for what it really is, a habit of the mind, you reclaim your power. And how do we see that clearly? Through mindfulness, or what the Buddha called sati. When you are mindful, you come back to the present moment. Because fear lives in the past or future, never in the now. Think about it. When you're mindful, you don't react to fear. You observe it. You notice your heart beating faster. You feel the tension in your shoulders. You say, "Ah, here is fear again." And just by naming it, you soften its grip. As Thich Nhat Hanh beautifully said, "Feelings come and go like clouds in a windy sky. Conscious breathing is my anchor." Buddhism doesn't tell you to suppress fear. It invites you to meet it like a curious friend. And here's one more lesson, one we often forget. Fear is not a flaw. It's part of being human. In Buddhist teaching, suffering is called dukkha, and it's universal. Anxiety, sadness, loss. These aren't signs of weakness. They are shared experiences. When we realize this, we stop isolating ourselves. We begin to understand others. We see fear not as an enemy, but as a common thread that connects all of us. You are not alone in your fear. You are part of something bigger. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, don't run. Don't fight. Sit with it. Observe it. Learn from it. Because maybe, just maybe, that fear is not here to punish you. Maybe it's here to wake you up. You see, fear often hides behind what we cling to the most. Our relationships, our career, our image, even the story we tell ourselves about who we are. In Buddhism, this craving or attachment is called tanha, a thirst for permanence in a world that's constantly changing. And the deeper we cling, the more we suffer. But letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting those things define your happiness. You can love deeply without fearing loss. You can work with passion without attaching to the outcome. You can show up fully without needing to control everything. This is the power of non-attachment. Enjoy life, but don't grip it so tightly. And here's the truth. Fear grows stronger when we're impatient, when we demand answers now, when we can't sit with uncertainty. That's why the Buddha spoke of khanti, the virtue of patience. Patience is not weakness. It's the quiet strength of someone who trusts that clarity will come, not through force, but through time. Have you ever felt anxious simply because you didn't know what would happen next? We all have. But when you practice patience, you stop panicking about what you can't control. You begin to grow your capacity to sit with discomfort, not to escape it, but to learn from it. You even become patient with yourself. You realize growth takes time. Healing takes time. You don't need to fix everything overnight. You just need to keep walking. And that brings us to something powerful. What if fear is not your enemy, but your teacher? In Buddhist teachings, fear isn't something to run from. It's something to listen to. It points directly to the parts of ourselves that still need healing. Are you afraid of rejection? Maybe you're too attached to being validated. Are you afraid of failure? Maybe you've confused your self-worth with your success. Instead of pushing fear away, what if you paused and asked it, "What are you trying to teach me?" Write it down, sit with it, let the answers rise slowly, because fear, when observed mindfully, becomes a mirror, and that mirror shows you exactly where you still need to grow. One last truth, and maybe the most freeing of all: you are not your fear. You are not a failure. You are not a weak person. You are not your anxious thoughts. In Buddhism, there's a powerful concept called anatta, non-self. It means there's no fixed, permanent you. Who you are is not a single identity, but a flow of thoughts, emotions, and energy that constantly changes. So if fear comes, it's not you. It's just a cloud passing through the sky. The moment you stop saying, "I am scared," and instead say, "Fear is arising," you create distance, and in that space, you find freedom. Try it. Next time fear appears, whisper to yourself, "I am not my fear. I am the awareness behind it." And that awareness is unshakable. So here's the truth, friend. You weren't born to live in fear. You were born to awaken, to grow, to love without holding back, to live with a heart wide open. Fear is not your enemy. It's your teacher, if you're willing to listen. And when you do, when you pause, breathe, and observe it with mindfulness and compassion, you stop reacting and start understanding. You realize fear is just a doorway. On the other side, clarity, courage, and a kind of peace that doesn't depend on perfect conditions. Every fear you face becomes fuel for inner growth. Every moment of discomfort becomes a lesson in wisdom. This isn't about fighting fear. It's about transforming it through awareness, through patience, through love. So the next time fear whispers, "You can't," smile gently and whisper back, "I'm not here to be ruled by fear. I'm here to live freely." Because you are not your fear. You are the light that sees through it. If this touched something in you, share it with someone you care about.